At a time, I actually was not aware that this milestone was coming.
Milestone markers all around Temple Athletics this week. Two coaches pick up two historic wins, 200 and 250.
And it was a late night on campus Wednesday as men's basketball turns into giant killers inside the Lacrosse Center.
OwlSports Update is live and it starts right now. Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of OwlSports Update. Alongside Max Gretzula, I'm Emilie Cochrane, and with spring sports in full swing, we have a busy show ahead.
From golf to lacrosse, it's been a busy week for Temple Athletics. Milestones, season openers, upsets. We'll kick things off on the hardwood and a late night affair. The men entered Wednesday's matchup versus SMU looking to stop a two-game skid. It didn't look pretty early on, however, as the Mustangs jumped out to an early lead and took a 6-point advantage into the break. Temple came out firing in the second half thanks to this triple from Nick Jourdain and a smooth fall-away two on the baseline from Ty Strickland. The Owls are not to be denied as Sage Tolbert gathers this miss, goes up strong for the lay-in, and finishes with the flex. Strickland scored a team-high 27 points, including this bucket with the right hand. Temple outscored SMU 40-4 in bench points and closed on a 22-8 run, winning by a final score of 64-57.
This young group, and what I'm impressed about the most is I got so many young guys out there, and all of our games have been, close, coming down the stretch, and those guys have been just playing with great poise and understanding late in games. Again, they don't do everything right, but they're responding to these situations, and I'm proud of them.
I stepped up, Josh stepped up, Nick has stepped up. It was just my turn tonight.
Not too long ago, I asked John and Nick who had the most bounce on the team. They left your name out of the conversation, which I was shocked by.
Oh, John can't talk. John cannot talk. I got way more bounce than Nick. He has a case. John can't.
This was a great season split with two competitive games. Temple traveled to SMU for its first matchup of the year in late January. With the help of forward Marcus Weathers, the final score was 69-61 SMU as he scored 27 points. But on Wednesday, without injured Jeremiah Williams and Damian Dunn, these two teams met on the court again. But the outcome was much different. Temple ended the game on a 22-8 run and held the Mustangs to 38% shooting from the floor to win the rematch 64-57 in Philadelphia. The men's assistant coach Jimmy Fennerty is following in his father's footsteps at Temple University.
OwlSports Update's Tanner Gilmartin is live at Ritter Hall. And Tanner, this is one of those like father, like son?
Yes, thank you guys. Jimmy Fennerty received his master's degree at Temple, taking most of his classes right here at Ritter Hall. Before his college days, Jimmy Fennerty spent years watching and learning as his father Jim coached basketball at a high school level. And in 2019, Aaron McKee gave Fennerty an opportunity to help coach a team of his own.
To say Jimmy Fennerty was built for coaching is not an exaggeration. While height, speed, and athleticism can all be hereditary, Fennerty seems to have picked up the coaching gene, and he's brought it to Temple as an assistant coach. Fennerty's father, Jim, devoted 30 years to coaching basketball at a high school level.
I was very lucky, very fortunate to have my dad, very fortunate to know sort of the path to go and to be able to get the opportunity to go do that, especially at such a young age. I was very lucky.
The older Fennerty is a Hall of Famer who won a record-breaking 626 high school games, most at Germantown Academy.
It taught me to believe in others, sometimes even more than they believe in themselves. And that was something that he carried on to us, and hopefully I'm passing that on to these guys as well. But he was a special man, and he laid the foundation for me tremendously.
And the foundation started early.
Jimmy started his coaching career when he was just a senior right here at Germantown Academy. Fennerty worked basketball camps around the area that eventually brought him to Temple even before he was in college.
I think I was so young that they were passing me the ball while I was reffing because they thought I was one of them, and it was because I was one of them, but got the opportunity to get out there and sort of learn through mistakes.
Head coaching might be in Fennerty's future, like his dad, but for now, the focus is on putting the Owls back near the top of the AAC.
As mentioned, Fennerty got his master's at Temple. He's one example of a program that likes to keep its alumni close to home. Everyone you see here went to Temple in the years listed, along with their jobs today. For example, head coach Aaron McKee returned to his alma mater in 2014 after 17 seasons in the NBA. McKee served as assistant coach to Fran Dunphy before taking over as head coach in 2019. McKee's assistant Mark Macon is also a Temple alum and holds the Owls' all-time scoring title before being named assistant to the head coach. In 2019, Macon played 6 seasons in the NBA. Fennerty's focus is now on leading this team down the stretch, as they currently sit 5th in the AAC with just 5 games remaining until the conference championship in Fort Worth, Texas. Max and Emilie, back to you.
The Owls got back in the win column Saturday afternoon against Tulsa. 15 minutes in, the Owls in black take a 7-point lead thanks to a buzzer beater by freshman Jaisha Clinton. In the second quarter, a steal from Anaya Gordine and a quick layup by senior Alexa Williamson added to that lead. Shortly after, Williamson scored 5 consecutive points that pushed the Owls past the Golden Hurricane by double digits. Temple's lead scorer Mia Davis scored 21 points throughout the conference matchup, and Gordine recorded her second triple-double thanks to her 10th and final assist in the closing minutes of the game. This win gave Tanya Cardoza her 250th career win with a score of 73-58.
Mia Davis has her name next to some star-studded company. She currently ranks 3rd in career AAC points behind Connecticut legends Katie Lou Samuelson and Nafisa Collier. With the NBA draft looming for Davis, it's worth noting that Samuelson and Collier were both drafted 4th and 6th overall in 2019, respectively.
With only 5 games remaining in the regular season, the women's basketball team is currently ranked 4th in the AAC. OwlSports Update's Sam Massid takes us through how these Owls compare to other competitive conference teams.
Thanks, Emily. We're now under a month away from the conference championship, and the Owls have 5 games left in the regular season. Sitting at 7-4 in the AAC, the team is currently being led by graduate forward Mia Davis, averaging 20 points, and freshman Anaya Gordine, averaging 6.5 assists per game, which ranks 1st in the AAC. But when it comes to the conference championship, they'll have a hard time against the USF Bulls, won the conference last season and are on a path to the similar success. Elena Sinek is the leading scorer with almost 15 points per game, but it's their defense that teams need to watch out for. USF only gives up 55 points per game, and they have 2 of the top 3 rebounders with Betty Manunga and Dulcie Mengiato. The Owls have a chance to prove themselves this Saturday as UCF comes to town. From McGonigal Hall, I'm Sam Massid. Max and Emily, back to you guys.
A 7-4 conference record has the Owls rolling in AAC play. With that being said, Temple holds the top spot in a few important categories. Anaya Gordine has been dishing dimes, and Mia Davis has been giving buckets, as these two currently lead the AAC in assists and points on average, while the team overall is doing damage on the glass, leading the conference in rebounds per game. It's time to take our first break of the day. Coming up, we'll talk lax, and you guessed it, more lax.
Including a newly successful club team and a previous soccer star who changed her sport just 2 years before college. Stay with us. Over to Howard Field Wednesday night, where the Owls defeated Villanova on its own home turf. Just 30 seconds into the game, number 22 Caroline Colonel finds the back of the net to put Nova up for the first and only time of the night. Quinn Nikolai responds fast, netting the first 3 goals for Temple to take the lead. And that lead stays consistent throughout the night. This was head coach Bonnie Rosen's 200th career win. The Owls win this one 12-7 in North Philadelphia.
At the time, I actually was not aware that this milestone was coming. But, you know, this represents, you know, the many, many teams I've had an opportunity to coach, and as important, all the coaches that have worked with me, that I've had a chance to be alongside all these years. So it's an exciting day, and I'm most excited that we won our game today. Yeah, I mean, Temple just has a special place in my heart. I love being the coach here. I love everything about the university, and to be able to bring the wins to Temple is, you know, a thrill for me to be able to do.
In most cases, a D1 athlete's career starts early on. But for one lacrosse player, her journey started only 2 years before committing to Temple. OwlSports Update's Aaron Carty has more on this freshman superstar.
Number 13.
Katie Shallow had an impressive freshman season for the lacrosse team in 2021. She started all 19 games and made the conference's all-tournament team. And even before the first whistle in 2022, the awards keep coming. Katie has also been named to the preseason all-conference team.
It was actually good to see my hard work paid off.
Katie's rise has been a very quick one. She didn't start lacrosse until her sophomore year of high school.
I saw the pieces that I look for, you know, particularly in a defender.
For most Division I athletes, they commit to their college their junior year of high school. For Shallow, this means she would impress Coach Bonnie Rosen her rookie year because she just started playing as a sophomore.
I was a big basketball girl until my sophomore year of high school, and I decided to quit and try something new.
Even with Shallow's limited time playing lacrosse, she used her skills from other sports to adapt and excel as an all-conference defender.
One of Katie's biggest strengths is her ability to read for interceptions, and I think that has a lot to do with just kind of all of her experience playing multiple sports in her life, but she's just fun to watch on the field.
And Shallow showed this off in Temple's season-opening win over Army, where she played the entire game in the win. Reporting for OwlSports Update, I'm Aaron Carty.
The Temple lacrosse team has hit the ground running in the early stages of its regular season. The 22nd ranked Owls currently hold a +16 goal differential through 2 games. With high expectations moving forward, Temple has been led by these 3 veterans who have carried the load offensively so far, combining for 8 of the 12 goals scored in Wednesday's win over Villanova. The women's lacrosse team is the only varsity lax team on campus. But there's also a men's club team. OwlSports Update's Johnny Williams joins us at the studio set to tell us more about a team on the rise and also plays national competition. Hey, Johnny.
Thanks, Max. The Temple men's club lacrosse team is on a mission this year to pick up where they left off in 2020 before COVID ended their season and then took away 2021.
It's been several years in the making. After waiting impatiently for the better part of 2 years, the Temple men's club lacrosse team is finally ready for the big time as part of the Collegiate Lacrosse Association. The Owls joined this league at the end of 2019, but COVID has basically kept them off the field ever since.
When we couldn't play last year, we were pretty saddened by it, but now that we're back, we're excited. We're ready to compete. We got some great competition, some great games coming up.
The Owls have come a long way since its humble beginnings in the 1980s into the 90s, when just finding a coach was a challenge.
They put out an ad in the paper, who wants to coach the team, no pay, no benefits, nothing. All it was basically running the practices and then showing up to the games.
Today, the Owls are getting to where they want to be. They won the title in their old league in 2015. Now in this new Collegiate Lacrosse Association, they will be up against some of the best club teams in the country in places like Virginia, West Virginia, and Florida.
We're pretty amped up. that transition to the MCLA. It was kind of a 2-year transition. We did a trial year in 2019 and 2020. You know, I think we got off to a really good start with some good wins on some good road trips.
The men's club schedule is out. They have 5 conference games along with a slate of non-conference games before the playoffs in April. One matchup I look forward to is against Pitt. These two programs have been extremely competitive over the years and have a huge rivalry. 2 Pennsylvania schools going head-to-head, you gotta love it. It is a statement year for this team as it gears up to start its 2022 season. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Johnny Williams. Max and Emily, back to you.
We're getting ready to take our second break of the day. But when we come back, we're going to introduce a brand new segment that may or may not have taken us a couple of weeks to come up with.
But good things come to those who wait. It's the M&M Mailbag. We have your questions and we're ready to roll. We'll be back in just 90 seconds. Welcome back to OwlSports Update. It's time for our brand new segment. We went on Twitter and wanted to know what you want to know. You ask, we answer. We're calling it the M&M Mailbag. M and M. Let's get started. The first question is from Rich Burak, and he asks if there's any recent news about an on-campus stadium. So as of late, there has not been recent news on the stadium since Arthur Johnson got to campus. This is because the project has gotten a lot of pushback from the North Philadelphia community, specifically the stadium stompers who have been advocating against the campus since 2018. The group has explained that it doesn't want any added noise, traffic, and trash within the area. It's difficult to construct such a large project in a city school, especially because we as students share a community with local residents. I think the pushback is the main reason why this project has been so stagnant.
On to our second question. OwlSports Update alum JJ Michalski asks, what improvements can be made to help these attendance numbers increase? For example, men's basketball is averaging about 4,000 fans per game. That ranks 6 out of 11 teams in the AAC. I think the biggest way to increase fan turnout is giving them some exciting recruits to watch. While turnout for football has been down these last few years, thanks to few wins, there are teams with star power like Mia Davis in women's basketball or Damian Dunn in men's basketball. There have been some real talented athletes on the Olympic-style sports like the Stalling sisters from gymnastics that fans can get behind. Of course, beating SMU like the men's team did Wednesday night doesn't hurt.
Personally, I'm excited to watch Caleb Battle back on the court next season, but that's it for the M&M Mailbag.
Be sure to send us in more questions on Twitter before our next show.
The Temple Spirit Squad has been traveling to UCA Nationals for over 2 decades, and usually they fly solo. But this year, a special guest from Temple Athletics was in attendance, supporting them in more ways than one.
We know about their yearly national competition. We know about the shiny hardware they brought home from Orlando in 2022. But one of the many reasons we know about this is because of Scott Walkoff.
He was so supportive. We loved having him there. Every day he asked me how my day was.
The senior associate athletic director stepped off the court and outside of his office for an entire week, making the trip down to Orlando to support both the cheer and dance teams for their one and only competition of the year.
It was really great to see him there, actually fully understand what we do. We've been doing better each year at Nationals, so the more recognition that we can get for the efforts that we're putting in can only help us grow.
The Spirit Squad has been traveling to Nationals for over 20 years, bringing back lots of hardware. But this was actually the first time an athletic director accompanied these teams who usually give all of their support to these other athletes.
Walkoff not only supported these Owls in person, but he also had a hand in promoting both of the teams on social media platforms.
For anybody that actually goes to national competitions, it is more than just holding up a sign, and it's more than just doing one routine. There's a lot of hours that go into preparing what both teams do.
Both squads are already saving Walkoff a seat for next season's trip as they continue to win on a national scale.
The Temple Spirit Squad placed as high as 2nd and 8th place in the various competitions, and Walkoff's supportive social media posts made the entire Temple community aware of their national success. Starting on Monday, golf will officially be in full swing. Head coach Brian Quinn has announced that the 2022 schedule will include 6 tournaments, all led by senior captain Dawson Anders in his final season. The team has added 4 rookies who are expected to bring talent to an already promising team that placed in the top 5 in 5 out of their last 6 tournaments last season.
On that note, it's time for our final break of the day.
Coming up, we introduce a brand new segment where I tell you what's hot and Max tells you what's not. Don't go anywhere. OwlSports Update will be right back.
Following Temple's win over SMU Wednesday night, Ty Strickland has started to turn some heads. The redshirt sophomore has shot the ball a combined 11 for 20 from the field over his last 2 games, including 27 off the bench in a come-from-behind victory versus the Mustangs. With the health status of Damian Dunn and Jeremiah Williams unknown for the near future, it's up to Strickland and company to put the ball in the bucket down the stretch.
Now for what's trending upward. I'm going with head coach Tanya Cardoza. Temple's victory against Tulsa marked her 250th career win as head coach. She has been leading these Owls for 14 seasons, and her long history of producing WNBA stars and aiding in the success of programs like UConn prior to arriving at Temple make her an all-around leader. Cardoza has 5 more opportunities to get some more wins, with the regular season ending in the beginning of March, but few will be more exciting than number 250 over the weekend. On Tuesday night, Temple Athletics held an ESPN Campus Conversations event for all female student athletes to attend. Each team had an opportunity to listen to multiple guest speakers about their experiences at Temple and post-graduation. The event included breakout rooms, interview counseling, and the women were even given a chance to take a professional headshot. By the end of the night, these Temple Owls left with free ESPN gear, notepads, and lifelong career advice. The weekend calendar is packed with basketball, tennis, and fencing. But I'm most excited for the gymnastics team's dual meet against Yale on Friday night. The Owls will be competing at home in McGonigal Hall, showing out in their pink Leos for the non-conference breast cancer awareness meet.
I'm looking forward to the women's basketball matchup versus UCF. Listen, anytime Mae Davis plays right now, it's must-see TV. The Owls lost a hard-fought battle on the road versus the Knights a few weeks back, and we'll see if they can get the better of UCF this time at McGonigal Hall.
As we wrap up today, be sure to check out OwlSports Update off-air on Spotify. Jay Rosen interviews myself and Lindsay Moppert about our involvement in sports media while also being student athletes. He also brings up a sore spot: our second-place finish in the national competition last month by 1/10 of a point.
We really did very well. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. We did great. We lost by 0.1 of 1 point.
When you say 0.1 points, what is the scale of these?
So it's 100. It's on 100
So
scale.
you lost on 1/10 of a point of 1 to 100.
So it was they scored a 97.2333. We had a 97.1333. So it was a 1 number difference. Like
that's
within
a tie.
That'll do it for this edition of OwlSports Update. But don't worry, you can follow along with all of our shows and content on our social media platforms at OwlSports Update.
On Friday, Courts in Session drops at noon. Ray Dunn will be back on the desk with his co-anchor Sage Hurley after a long 2 weeks off. For Max Gretzula and the entire OSU crew, I'm Emilie Cochrane. Have a great day.